Shay. The woman hauled the pine log uphill by herself. Jacob Morgan watched from his horse on the ridge, the late October wind cutting through his coat. The log was long and heavy enough that 2 men would have cursed under their breath dragging it this far. She had a rope slung over her shoulder, boots biting into rocky earth, her faded calico dress streaked with mud up to the knees. Most women would have given up long ago. Jetu. Jacob nudged his horse forward and started down the slope. The half-built cabin came into view, barely chest-high. No roof yet, tools scattered among cut timber. A sagging canvas tent leaned beside it, smoke curling from a small fire pit. She heard him coming and straightened, breathing hard. She didn't run, didn't call out, just stood there, chin lifted, watching him approach. A holiday. Afternoon, Jacob said as he dismounted. Theds. A lot of cavern for one person. I don't need charity from strangers. Her voice was steady, but her hands stayed tight on the rope, ready if needed. Jacob studied the walls. Roof won't hold without proper bracing. Storm's coming 2 weeks, maybe less. I'll manage, Jet. He looked at her more closely then. A pale scar ran from her left temple down to her jaw, old against sun-weathered skin. Burns, he said quietly. Her shoulders stiffened. I'm not pretty, she said, defensive, like she'd said it too many times before. Jacob met her gaze. That's fine. I need honest, not fancy. Winter kills pretty folk first out here, she blinked. Something shifted surprise, maybe, or mistrust of kindness. Why would you help me? Because I'm tired of liars and clean dressers. He picked up her hammer, testing the weight. The handle was wrapped with cloth strips for a smaller grip. You've got nails. She hesitated, then nodded toward a crate. I can pay with labor. I cook, I mend. Fair enough. He turned to inspect the joints. What's your name? Clara Brennan. Jacob Morgan. I run cattle 3 miles south. He glanced at the thickening clouds. We start tomorrow at first light. Clara watched him ride away until the pine swallowed him whole. Then she sank onto a stump, hands shaking. First snow in 2 weeks. First hope in 6 months. She wasn't sure which frightened her more. The next afternoon, Jacob crouched by her fire, examining her tools, while Clara boiled coffee in a dented pot. Everything was organized, the sorted nails, the careful lumber stacks. You do good work, he said. Taught myself. She handed him a tin cup. After my husband died, the coffee was strong, bitter. He drank it the way cowboys did. Towns full of widows. Why buy land out here alone? 2. Her jaw tightened. A merchant wanted me after Thomas passed. Said I needed a man's protection. When I refused, rumors started. Witch, cursed. Said I burned my own house. Jacob stayed silent, waiting. The fire started during a fight. A lamp broke. I tried to pull him out. He hit me into the flames. I escaped, eaten. Her fingers brushed the scar without thinking. They buried him a hero. Buried me alive with gossip. So I bought this claim with everything I had left. If I'm going to be alone, I wanted it on my terms. She looked at him. What about you? Aren't your size you should have a wife? Sons? Jacob set down the cup. Had a wife. Sarah. Beautiful. Everyone loved her. She wanted town life. Dances. Admiration. You need help before winter? I need meals and mending. No need to complicate it. Agreed. They shook hands, firm, equal. She didn't look away. A week later, snow began to fall. They worked in quiet rhythm, breath fogging the air. Walls stood solid now. Roof frame halfway done. Hold it steady, Jacob said, lifting a beam. Clara braced it. Snow dusted their shoulders. Chomas drank, she said suddenly. After we lost our baby. God mean. Jacob listened. That night he came home yelling. Supper was cold, I was useless. He knocked the lamp over. She stared at the beam. I tried to save him. Jacob set down the hammer. Town blamed you because it was easier than facing who he was. She swallowed. My wife wanted things I couldn't give her, Jacob said. When she died, my first thought was relief. I hate myself for that. Maybe, Clara said softly, we lose what we can't keep, so we learn what we truly need. Snow thickened fast. This is turning bad, Jacob said. I'm staying. There's only one blanket. We'll manage. That night, the storm screamed outside. They sat by the fire beneath the tarp, sharing warmth without touching. Clara read aloud from a water-stained book, The Odyssey. Her voice turned ancient words alive. Jacob listened like a starving man. Near midnight, her head rested on his shoulder. He didn't move. At dawn, horse tracks circled the cabin. The town had found them. Weeks. Past the cabin neared completion. Laughter returned. Trust deepened. Then town judgment. Struck public. Cruel. Jacob faltered. Just work, he said. The words shattered everything. Clara walked away. Christmas came cold and empty. Flowers appeared on her doorstep. Regret drove Jacob to truth. He confessed publicly. He chose honesty. When he returned, he didn't beg. He worked, too. I don't need rescuing, Clara said. I know, he answered. I want a partner. This time, she nodded. Spring came slowly. The cabin stood strong. The barn rose beside it. Scars remained, but they were no longer shame. Pretty faded. Fancy broke. But Honest Ernest built a life that held. In that holding, broken things didn't just heal. They became stronger. The end.